Hi everybody, this is Mr. Powell back on Facebook Live to answer any questions that you may have about the new Total History series. And so I want to tell you a little bit about that, and it's running on OutSchool now, and it's a follow-up to this amazing big picture history series that has been very popular on OutSchool. These 16 various histories that were offered starting in the summer of 2016 were very well received by clients, homeschoolers out there in the homeschooling universe. But they've only covered a certain amount of stuff, right? There's a limit to how much you can cover in a series like that. And so it was, designed to give you an overview of the world around us. And the students really appreciated that, and many students were able to participate in multiple sessions, and possibly even some students actually got involved in all of the sessions. But there was, a point where the big picture came to an end, and the question remained: what were other subjects that students can learn about in other history classes? And so I designed the Total History series as a follow-up, as a sequel to the Big Picture History series, to offer you access to other topics of interest. So I want to show you guys what some of those topics of interest are and how they've started up. Really, the Total History series now is already underway. And so it started with the Total History of France. That was one that went last week, and actually still has sessions to come. So if you're interested in France, or you have kids that are interested in France in particular, you can grab Total History of France on OutSchool. This week right now is running the Total History of Germany. And so that is another one that is, talking about a culture in Europe where we know, from the news headlines, so many interesting things are happening, and challenging things are happening, and it's quite possible that we'll be seeing the disintegration of the European Union in the coming year. Not necessarily, Germany's not the country that's going to be doing it, but understanding Germany's position and what Germany is doing in the world today, you cannot really grasp that picture without looking at the Total History series. Or looking at least at the history of Germany. But of course the thing is, all these histories the history of the world is a plethora. The history of the world is too much information for people to handle, and most grown-ups are so discouraged with this subject that basically they just absolutely give up on it. You look around in the world today, and if you were to ask, the man on the street, do the man on the street interview with most adults today, and really, really simple stuff, and they would be absolutely unable to tell you about the historical background of such crucial things as the European Union and the way that Germany is today. So that's the purpose of all these histories, is to give our kids access to that information that sadly our education didn't provide us with. And one of the wonderful benefits for us as parents, as homeschoolers as well, especially for you out there as homeschooling moms, is you have an opportunity to attend these classes with your kids and learn in a way that you never had a chance to do before. So I'm very proud of that particular aspect of the program. I have a lot of parents that join in on the History at Our House program, the curriculum that I offer, and really benefit enormously from learning alongside their kids, and having their kids in effect be their teachers. And that's just a wonderful experience. I think that's one of the best benefits that we can point to of homeschooling, is that intimate learning that we do together as a team. And for families that want to know more about history, this is going to be one of those great options. And it allows you to sample histories, not have to go for an entire curriculum, but rather pick and choose topics that are of interest to you. And so Germany's one of those, right? And another one that's going to be coming up is various subjects having to do with the history of the Middle East. I think cannot be but of great interest to modern students of the world, right? Do you want to understand? This is, for instance, Turkey, the gateway to Europe. and what's happening there. And Turkey's been trying to get into the European Union now for decades, and it's unlikely ever to be allowed in. But on the other hand, we still have, movement into Europe from the Middle East, and what's driving that, and what's Europe's response going to be in the different cultures. Germany, one of them, of course, struggling enormously, and Turkey is a country that's really undergoing some radical changes. As some of you may have seen in the news, there was a rather shady-looking coup or pseudo-coup that occurred there, and we're seeing a lot of crackdown on dissidents, and we're seeing really the breakdown of, looks like, democracy in Turkey, or we're seeing the breakdown, at least, of the kind of government that we would hope to see in a country like that, as a symbolic culture that's really representing a union or interface of Western and Islamic culture. So there's a subject worth learning about. Other subjects that really are, of course, going to be of great interest to students of the world today. Israel would be one that obviously would be something that everybody should learn about, because we're seeing that conflict. We've seen a lot of different American interpretations of how to try to affect the course of history there with the conflict between Israelis and Palestinians. And that has been an irresolvable conflict up to this point. Historical students of the world need to know about the historical background to challenges like that. So we've got that subject. Iran is one that I'm particularly looking forward to doing, because its complex history contains some quite ironic outcomes as far as America would be concerned. America as a world police power has struggled to promote its values in the world, and this is a country where ultimately the United States thus far has failed. And it's going to be really interesting to see, right? We have a new president coming in, and how is that president going to interact with Iran, because that's quite a controversial issue. And so the total history of Iran will help, bring students into some understanding of what the country is like and why it's like that, because history is the only place that we can get the answers to questions like that. So history is, rightly, the explanation of the world that we live in. If you want to understand a country like Iran, you need to look at its history. You need to understand the roots of the conflicts that exist in a culture like that and its difficult relationship to the United States. So there's another total history. Japan is a particularly fascinating one. There's a culture that so many people thought was going to surpass the United States and become the global economy's engine and the most important country in the world. And while that hasn't come to be, in fact, as most people know, China has really risen up to actually become a larger economy than Japan. And so we're experiencing amazing transformations in the world, and the total history of Japan will be part of understanding the unfolding landscape of Asia. So these are topics, examples of topics that students need to know about. This is perhaps one that's a little bit more specialized, but quite exotic and interesting in its own right. That's the history of Korea, right? The United States became a world police power in large part by deciding to intervene in Korea. And so this is a subject that students who are interested in America and its world policing role and so on, the way that America continues to police Korea, would be a really interesting subject for those that are interested in that, interested in the Cold War, interested in the history of communism and so on, because we really have only two examples of communism left in the world, and I don't think they are long for this world. So it's going to be very interesting to see the story of Korea helping students of the world to understand a place like that. So continuing on, there's a variety of subjects that I'm looking forward to doing. I've done the big picture history of Africa, but there's so many wonderful, subtopics there that are worth learning. And so with the end of apartheid in South Africa in 1994 with Nelson Mandela, this is really something something that is worthy of attention from students of history, especially in the context of the ongoing question of civil rights in American culture. This is something that has a wider interest to people, so hopefully students will want to see that. And I have other really exciting topics as well. We have the controversy of the wall and with the recent president now, moving ahead with his project there that he promised. And so we have the relationship between the United States and Mexico as something that is of interest to people, of course. And here we have this culture, which is a fascinating blend of pre-Columbian peoples and, of course, the conquering Spanish Empire. And then through its independence, it evolved into the nation that it is today. And so looking at this extended background is going to be one of the things that we can also do through the Total History program, which we couldn't do in something like the Big Picture History program. So finally, also, this is my personal favorite one. I'm looking forward to various parts of the story of Europe, getting to kind of dig into those in a way that the Big Picture History series really only suggests. And so the Total History, this is my title page for the Total History of Italy, because I'm excited about studying that, especially the Italy as the center of the Renaissance, of course, or the fountainhead of the Renaissance in terms of art anyway. And so this is going to be an exciting topic. So, these are all the various subjects that are coming up. And so I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have on the live feed or on the comments hereafter. Okay, so let me know what it is you're interested in as homeschoolers, what it is that you're hoping to give your kids, and I will be very interested to know how can I help meet your needs in that regard. So thank you once again. Tomorrow, by the way, I'm going to be talking about another new series coming up on OutSchool, which is the United States of America, a celebration of the many parts of the Union. In other words, the states. The histories of the states, which of course so many homeschoolers are interested in, or at least have requirements to meet with regard to their, state education, government requirements and so on. So I'll be talking about state histories tomorrow. So please join me for that, and let me know what state you're from and what state you want done first. And I'll be happy to see if I can help out in that regard. All right, so Total History is coming. It's now underway, and I would love to be able to know what subjects you're most interested in that I might add to that series as it unfolds. There will be 2 of them new per month on OutSchool, and I certainly haven't decided entirely what are the ones that are going to be covered. So I look forward to your feedback on what subjects you might like to see. It's not just going to be my favorites. These are my favorites. I'm looking forward to Italy and Mexico and South Africa and Korea and Japan and Iran and Israel. Look at that amazing spectrum of courses, and Turkey and Germany is underway this week. If you want to join, you can still join. But like I said, I would love to hear from you about what kinds of histories you would like to see, because I'm there to meet your needs as homeschoolers and help you bring history to life for your child. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining me today. That's kind of what I have on my end. And so I will wait for questions from you guys, comments from you guys, and thumbs up to encourage me to keep going on Facebook Live. I will, of course, appreciate. So thank you very much. And hopefully I'll see you again one of these upcoming days. All right, everybody. Bye for now.